Tonight on CTV News at 6, not guilty, the verdicts in the sexual assault trial of 5 former World Junior hockey players. Reaction to the end of the high-profile trial. Canadians on vacation staying away from the States.
Trump can take his 51st state. No, we're not. It's not happening. Canada, strong. We're staying here.
And remembering a wrestling legend.
Look at this!
Hulk Hogan has died at 71.
The greatest of all times.
Severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in and around the Edmonton area, tracking some storms as we go throughout the early evening. I have all those details in your 5-day forecast coming up.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. A London, Ontario judge handed down not guilty verdicts on all charges in a high-profile sexual assault trial today. The trial concluded with the judge telling 5 former World Junior hockey players they're free to go. Advocates for sex assault victims say the decision has left them disappointed but not surprised. CTV's Nariman Issa has reaction to the acquittals.
What do we want?
After an 8-week trial, 5 former members of the 2018 World Junior hockey team arrived to see its conclusion. Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Alex Formenton, and Cal Foote were each charged with sexual assault stemming from an encounter in a hotel room in June of 2018. The judge found them not guilty on all charges.
We have received dozens of messages from people across Canada and abroad asking us to pass along these messages of thanks and support for EM.
The woman at the center of the case, referred to in court as EM, says she consented to going to a hotel for sex with McLeod, but was later sexually assaulted by his teammates after McLeod invited them to the room. Justice Maria Caracia said she did not find the evidence of EM to be either credible or reliable, adding where she had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions.
I think she could have done all that she needed to do if she was intent on finding those boys not guilty by not just rubbing more salt into the wound.
Mary Jane James with the Sexual Assault Centre of Edmonton says this was a complex case. She says only about 6% of sexual assault victims pursue charges.
And what I'm fearful of is that there will be a ripple effect, that even more survivors will avoid the justice system.
This sports culture professor says the case has created some positive discussion.
There's been some important changes to Hockey Canada and some important recognition of some of the problems and challenges within high performance sport and hockey in particular. And so I hope that those efforts will continue.
James says while she respects the justice's decision,
the behavior that they demonstrated in that room that night was reprehensible at best. And I hope that they will take this experience and go forward and have learned something from it.
The Crown's office says her team will review the decision and that she has no further comment as the case is within the appeal period. Nariman Issa, CTV News, Edmonton.
We'll have more on the judge's verdicts as well as analysis of her decision from a criminal lawyer later this hour. As RCMP search for dozens of stolen vehicles connected to a car theft ring, it's offering up some tips to drivers. For the past 6 months, police have been investigating an organized car theft ring responsible for taking nearly 200 vehicles. They say the group used the Alberta Registry's third-party authorization system to register fake vehicle identification numbers under other people's names. There are ways to prevent this, according to police. One is reporting if your ID is lost or stolen.
If you're the victim of stolen ID or identity theft, when you're in the registries, check and see if there's a vehicle that you don't know that is registered in your name. And if you find that, then please contact the police.
Police also say you can check if a VIN is fake by taking it for an inspection or to a car dealership. Since December, police say they've recovered nearly $2 million worth of stolen vehicles from across Canada and overseas. A St. Albert man says he has killed thousands of grasshoppers in his yard so far this summer. Despite his efforts, the infestation continues. Merrick DeCash reports.
Alan
Lubberding has been keeping busy doing something he'd rather not.
I've killed by now 2 weeks, 2,000, at least 2,000.
Grasshoppers can be seen on his plants, on the sidewalk, on top of the fence, and in his pool.
Some of them are still moving. We've been living here for 30 years, never seen grasshoppers like this. In 30 years, never seen it.
Lubberding says the field behind his house belongs to the province's transportation utility corridor, and it's crawling with them.
I can kill what's in my yard, but they just keep coming over the fence from the field.
The city of St. Albert says it has received a few recent complaints. A communications advisor tells CTV News the issue is not exclusive to the city and is something areas around the province are experiencing. She added they are monitoring the situation.
Probably what happened was there might have been some green growth in a certain spot last year, and the female grasshoppers were attracted to that, laid most of their eggs there. So there's always somebody who's unlucky and they're closest to it. That could be it.
This environmental science professor says keeping your yard wet is the best way to keep them away. But when dealing with large infestations...
So there's no easy solution, unfortunately. However, finding those spots where they were laying eggs could help prevent a little bit of the problem next year.
As the weather gets warmer, more bugs are joining the fray.
They're just everywhere. Like, you can't sit and enjoy your yard, you know, and they're chewing the plants. We spend our time trying to catch and kill grasshoppers.
For now, Lubberding's grandchildren will continue to help him deal with the problem. Merrick Takash, CTV News, St. Albert.
Construction on the low-level bridge will begin next week, which means some substantial traffic detours. Starting Monday, you won't be able to drive north on the bridge. Anyone heading that way will have to take the James McDonald Bridge instead. The city says there may also be some lane reductions for traffic headed south. Crews are creating a temporary crossover to the North Bridge. That part of construction is expected to be complete by early to mid-August. The South Bridge will then fully close until construction is complete. The city says it should be done by the end of the year. Pedestrians and cyclists can continue to cross the river on the low level. The city marked National Drowning Prevention Week with demonstrations on how to stay safe in and around water. City staff showed what a properly fitted life jacket looks like. It should not ride up over your chin. The Life Saving Society says about 40 to 50 people drown in Alberta each year. It says most of those deaths happen in areas that aren't supervised by lifeguards.
As individuals, we can take simple steps. Wear a life jacket, supervise children actively, learn to swim, and never swim alone.
Earlier this year, life jackets became mandatory on the North Saskatchewan River. A restaurant in South Edmonton is hoping customers will bring some school supplies with them. The Varsity on 106th Street near White Mud is collecting school supplies for the Edmonton Public School Foundation.
We named it the Varsity, based after universities and school, and that's what our theme is, and we want to help the neighborhood and education as much as possible.
If you'd like to donate, the Varsity is collecting school supplies until September 9th. Some of the best coffee baristas in the country are in Edmonton this weekend. They're vying for a national title. And as Amanda Anderson explains, competitors aren't making your average cup of joe.
This barista has just 15 minutes to make coffee that will wow a panel of judges. She's one of 18 baristas competing in the National Barista Championship hosted by Edmonton's Columbian Coffee Bar and Roastery.
We just wanted to bring that vibrancy and just have people from across Canada come to actually check us out as like a very thriving scene of specialty coffee.
Competitors tell a story as they brew.
The coffees that are actually being used at this competition are some of the best coffees that you will ever have access to in your life. These coffees are sourced and they are very, very expensive, but they're sourced from really phenomenal coffee producers.
Each barista is required to make 3 coffees.
So we'll do the pure espresso, a milk beverage, which is like cappuccino, and then we'll do a signature beverage. So it's a drink created with coffee. It's kind of like a mocktail.
The whole time they have not 1, but 10 judges watching their every move and listening to every word. This is Kitty Chan's second time time at nationals. The Calgarian says it can be nerve-wracking.
We were taught to think of them as like micromanagers at the cafe.
The judges want to ensure whomever wins will be the best to represent Canada at the World Barista Championships in the fall. Canada has finished second, third, and fourth at previous World Championships, but has yet to win.
They want to make sure that they possess the skills to present, the technical skills, the knowledge of coffee, as well as the sensory knowledge to know how to communicate a sensory experience to people.
There are 5 baristas from Edmonton competing in the Nationals this weekend. It's taking place through Sunday at the Oliver Exchange 2 building and is open to the public. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Another Edmonton summer staple is now open for business. The Edmonton Corn Maze opened today. This year's design is an homage to a local business, the Little Potato Company. The Corn Maze rents land from a farmer who grows potatoes for the company. The maze takes months to make.
In the spring, we start dreaming up an idea, and then we come up with blueprints and plant the corn, the whole field full in the middle of May, and we let it grow till about 6 inches tall. Then we spend some time gritting it out, and then we cut out the corn we don't need with a rototiller and let the rest of it grow.
The corn is already 6 to 7 feet tall. It's expected the sunflowers will start blooming in a couple of weeks. All right, first check on weather, Corey. Some exciting weather in parts of the city.
Yeah, the corn maze got a good soaking about an hour ago, and we could see more rain pass through. Also had some reports of some hail on the south side of the city, some very heavy rain along the Henday. That has moved out. Right now, we are going to take a live look outside, and it's fairly gray here in the city. Our temperature, we did make it up to 29 today, but we've dropped off slightly. We are now at 24, so a bit of a cold front coming through, bringing those storms. There are still severe thunderstorm watches in place. Areas in yellow, severe thunderstorm warnings in place in red. We were under one. That has been dropped. Still in place for areas south of the city, Wetaskiwin, and then to the northeast, right around Andrew and St. Paul. Let's take a look at the current satellite radar and what we are seeing right now. Still a lot of storms throughout central and northern areas. A lot of lightning associated with these storms. Some storms to the south of us are under those warning areas. Could be producing hail, very heavy rain, strong wind. They are tracking eastward. Right now around the airport, Hay Lakes, approaching areas around Vegreville, and then St. Paul, some big storms in the area there. So these storms passing through, not too much off to the west right now, but there is still the potential that we could see some more storms later tonight. So if you are doing anything outside, just keep an eye in the sky for changing conditions. Potential for more thunderstorms passing through. Overnight, 17, 15 to start off tomorrow morning, becoming gusty tomorrow, and then 21 for a high with a slight chance of scattered showers tomorrow. 21 Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, and a chance of showers come Sunday with a high of 19.
Thank you, Corey. Stay with us. Coming up, Edmontonians exploring their own backyard.
We have so much to see and there's so much to offer, so you may as well check it out while you can.
Why many people say they're choosing a staycation this summer. Also next.
People are coming back. Town is busy. The park is busy. But there's always space for people to come and visit.
1 year since the town of Jasper was hit by a wildfire, tourists from near and far are showing their support.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A new Statistics Canada report shows many Canadians are still shying away from travel to the U.S. Some Edmontonians feel there are better options abroad within Canada and even here in the city. Nav Sanga reports.
Taking a trip to our neighbors down south has become less appealing for Canadians. According to a new Statistics Canada report, return trips from the United States by Canadian citizens fell nearly 32% in May compared to last year. For some, it's because of the Canadian dollar.
I think it's mainly due to our dollar, right? The strength of it, or I guess the lack of strength.
It's too expensive to go to the States. You can't afford it.
For others, it's because of Donald Trump and the political tension between the two countries.
Trump can take his 51st state. No, we're not. It's not happening. Canada Canada strong. We're staying here.
It doesn't feel welcoming and safe right now, I guess.
Travel agent Megan Duncan says decreased demand has resulted in airlines reducing U.S.-bound flights.
Yeah, just overall demand for sure is affecting the airlines wanting to keep the frequency up.
The Statistics Canada report also shows more Canadians are choosing to travel overseas, with a nearly 9% increase in May.
I mean, Europe is always major in the summer. That hasn't slowed down really at all. People are still doing their big bucket list Europe summer trips.
Duncan has also noticed more people traveling within borders.
I think people are kind of shifting their quicker weekend or 5-day trips to kind of Eastern Canada or Vancouver kind of area. So
with summer festivals like Taste of Edmonton and K-Days, Edmontonians we spoke to say there's plenty to explore in our own backyard.
I would like to travel around Edmonton and just our area because we have so much to see and there's so much to offer, so you may as well check it out while you can.
Phenomenal. It's lots of festivals and activities. Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Nav Sanga, CTV News, Edmonton.
While many local tourists are staying closer to home, people are still coming from far and wide to visit Jasper. Today marks 1 year since a third of the Jasper town site was destroyed by a fire. The eager return of tourists is a bright spot in its ongoing recovery. Miriam Valdez-Carletti has more.
Alpine Village Cabin Resort is rebuilding its legacy, one log cabin at a time. Last year's wildfire destroyed 25 of its 56 cabins and surrounding property.
There's been a lot of change. It was devastating to lose half of our property.
Co-owners Rena and Chris Allen say it's meant a 65% drop in their income. Why, 1 year later, they're overjoyed to open their doors to tourists again.
They've been bringing us chocolates and baking and flowers and everything, and we've had many, many hugs.
The property is fully booked, but because of their losses, they consider it half full.
A lot of people were quite sad, quite upset because they had lost their favorite cabin that they'd been returning to.
Tourists embracing the different but still picturesque landscape.
I visited here in 2010. A lot has changed, but it's great to be back here to see just how beautiful it is.
In terms of the views, it's still incredible. It's still amazing to be here, right?
Parks Canada says tourism in the national park was down 2% in May and June from last year. In May, there was 187,000 visitors, down from 194,000 last year. In June, there were 231,000 visitors, down from 240,000. April, however, actually had a boost in visitors compared to last year.
People are coming back. Town is busy. The park is busy. But there's always space for people to come and visit. We're actively inviting people to come and enjoy Jasper this summer.
The Jasper wildfire complex burned more than 32,000 hectares, leaving 25% of campgrounds in the park closed for the year. With campgrounds already in high demand, they're fully booked this summer.
The occupancy rates are pretty good. So I don't know that we could fit many more people in the destination.
With a third of the town site destroyed, Tourism Jasper says there's 20% less places to stay for visitors.
Hotel occupancy has been running around 96%, which is really, really good. It's very hard to get higher than that.
Steady income, that's crucial for businesses.
We're not going to have any insurance help through the winter, so this will really just be, we're going to have to make as much money as we can, keep our margins tight.
With summer in full swing, many tourists aren't letting the damaged landscape deter them from visiting the iconic mountain destination. Some tourists are even making it a priority to come back to Jasper after the wildfire.
I was on the train almost here from Vancouver, and we had to turn around in the middle of the night because of the fire and go back to Vancouver, and they sent us home. So we're trying again this year.
The post-fire landscape, a lesson in nature for tourists.
It provides an opportunity to see natural processes and the regeneration of the park and the ecosystem.
The Allens helping that process along on their property.
Back in September, my son arranged with some friends of his who were tree planters to plant 10,000 small native seedlings.
They've steadily grown, sprouting hope. Like nature, this business can return to its former glory. In Jasper, Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News.
Jasper is being featured on Nutella jars across the country, courtesy of a local photographer. The photo shows Pyramid Mountain with Patricia Lake in the forefront. The photo ended up on the limited edition jars before Edson-based photographer Sean Simmons even knew about it. Simmons says he was contacted a few months back about licensing a photo, but he wasn't told what it was for. He says it's surreal to know Canadians across the country have his image in their cupboards.
And that wasn't my intention. It'd be different if that's what my intention was, but it wasn't what my intention was. So, yeah, it took me a little bit to process that, and I thought it was really cool. It's exciting and a little bit satisfying to know that, I get recognized for an image that I worked hard for.
Simmons says he's grateful to have a large portfolio of pictures of Jasper before last year's wildfires. He says one day it will all be pristine again.
The unfortunate part about the wilderness is to keep it beautiful, it has to go through periods of devastation, right? So it will come back. It'll come back better and stronger and more beautiful. It may not be soon, but it will come back.
Coming up, where the Banff bison roam.
I think one of the most powerful moments of this entire trip was seeing what the bison do to the landscape.
One man's journey to travel every path the national park offers in his search for the herd.
Well, I've already seen some good storms roll through the Edmonton area this afternoon. There is a potential for more to come through the Edmonton area. We'll talk about that and take a look at your current weather conditions coming up after break.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
A Canmore hiking guide has spent the past 3 years searching for the bison herd in Banff National Park. On his quest to find the elusive animals, he accomplished another goal, hiking every marked trail in the park. CTV's Kevin Fleming reports.
He has a massive map of Banff National Park on his living room wall, and Jeff Douglas has kept track of every trail he's hiked by marking them in yellow and blue.
So mid-August to mid-September, I let my schedule as a guide be a little bit light, and if there's a 3-day or 4-day weather window, I have a very understanding wife and would see what I could accomplish during that time frame.
Douglas owns Mountain Goat Adventures and is a professional hiking guide. His wife supported his quest to hike all the trails and find the bison herd. She also made sure he was safe.
So usually at night and in the morning, Jeff will confirm via his InReach and the GPS device where he's at, if he's doing okay, if he needs anything, what his plan is for the day. So I always have an idea of the route he's taking as well, so I can track him along the way and make sure he's okay.
Parks Canada reintroduced 16 bison in the park in 2017. Since then, their numbers have grown to close to 135. They're monitored by staff who tries to make sure they stay within the park boundaries.
These bison certainly are wildlife, a lot like any other species in the park, and they're integrating into the landscape and improving the ecological integrity like we'd hoped.
This spring, on day 3 of his last 4-day hike, Douglas hit pay dirt and came across the bison.
I just sat down. I probably spent 45 minutes I didn't even pull up my phone or take my pack off. Just sat down on a rock and wanted to be present there. I've seen every animal in the park, and I don't know why, it was really majestic. It was a bit emotional. The whole project came full circle, and I had an absolutely spectacular day without a cloud in the sky.
Both he and his wife are proud of his achievement in covering over 2,000 kilometers of trails in the park and hope it inspires others to explore it. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Canmore.
So storms hitting the Edmonton area this afternoon. South side, definitely some hail. I saw a picture that my brother sent me from outside in his yard. Any more storms around? Anything we should be aware of this evening?
Right now, they're south of the city, just east of the airport, but there's a potential that we could see a few more pass through the Edmonton area, so that risk isn't completely gone. Right now, you are taking a live look through the Action Furnace River Valley Skycam. Action Furnace fixed right, or it's free. We were at 29. A cold front came through, dropped our temperature now at 24 with those storms coming through. As we take a look at our almanac, 5 degrees above average seasonal high for today. We've been below it for a while, so nice to be back above it. But that was short-lived. Tomorrow will be just below average seasonal high once again. Record value for today was 32, so we were short of that by 3 degrees. As we take a look at temperatures right now, again, we're at 24. Cold Lake, Fort McMurray saw those storms come through. Their temperatures have dropped off as well. Still warmer to the south. Red Deer, Calgary, Lethbridge at 27. Medicine Hat, 29. As we take a look, there are still from Fort McKay to Fort McMurray and Cold Lake severe thunderstorm watches in place. Westlock, we are still under severe thunderstorm watch. Areas in red, severe thunderstorm warning. That's where we are seeing some storms right now, producing very heavy rain, some hail and strong winds as well. St. Paul also seeing that. So let's take a look at the satellite radar. There we go. Lots of lightning popping up in our region and to the north. We're seeing storms up towards Fort McMurray passing through. It looks like another set are going to be passing through probably within the next hour. Into the Peace Country, seeing some rain and storms there, and then closer to home, Cold Lake also in St. Paul. But it's to the south of the city where we are seeing the bigger storms right now, where the warning is in place. So east of the airport towards Hay Lakes, some good heavy pockets of rain in those storms. Hail also associated with those, and very strong winds. Those are pushing to the east. As we can see here, St. Paul getting hammered right now as well. Nothing right now off to the west, but the potential is there that we could see more develop as we go throughout the later part of the evening. So the storms passing through, and then later tonight, possibly some more to the south of us that could pull to the northeast. So later tonight, there's the potential for more storms passing through the Edmonton area. 22. Keep an eye on the sky later tonight for changing conditions. Maybe a little bit difficult to get to bed if we've got some good thunder going on in the region. 15 tomorrow morning. 21 for a high tomorrow. Windy as we go throughout the day, and a slight chance of scattered showers. So take a look at your 5-day forecast. There's the weekend. Saturday improving a little bit. It was looking like showers. Now a mix of sun and cloud and a high of 21. Still a slight chance of scattered showers for Sunday. 19. Monday into Tuesday, temperatures climb 23 and 27. And the 10-day forecast still looking to be warm, and some might say hot, as we end off July and head into August. We've got 30s in the forecast. That trend has been holding to see our temperatures climb as we go throughout next week. So the heat will arrive for next week. But before that, tomorrow and the weekend, we go back below average seasonal high. Jeff.
Thanks, Corey. Coming up, decision details.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
Closer look at the reasons a judge gave for acquitting 5 former World Junior hockey players in a high-profile sexual assault case. Also next.
I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
The deadline for Canada and the U.S. to reach a trade deal up in the air.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Back to our top story. All 5 former World Junior hockey players accused of sexual assault have been acquitted on all counts. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has the details of the judge's decision and analysis from one criminal lawyer.
The pressure-packed culmination of a historic 8-week criminal trial.
Definitely been emotional for everybody involved.
With the defendants arriving for decision day inside, the proceedings began with a recap of the evidence brought before the courts. Justice Maria Caracia opened by proclaiming that she didn't find the evidence of EM, the complainant, to be either credible or reliable.
There were videos that were put to her. There was testimony of other hockey players. She was heavily cross-examined on that to raise some doubt about her credibility.
During a brief break in today's proceedings before the verdicts were even delivered, the accused hockey players were seen smiling and hugging their lawyers and family members in the courtroom. While delivering her verdicts, Justice Caracia told the court that where EM had gaps in her memory, she filled them with assumptions. Going on to share that EM testified that while at Jack's Bar in London, Ontario, it was the players who bought her drinks all night, though video evidence shows EM purchasing multiple beverages herself. Previously, EM told the courts that on the night of June 18, 2018, she'd arrived at a downtown hotel with Michael McLeod, where they had consensual sex. Afterwards, McLeod then sent this text message to teammates asking who wants to be in a, quote, 3-way. Multiple teammates arrived at room 209. EM alleged that she was, quote, manipulated and intimidated into remaining inside this hotel room. Though in her findings, Justice Carossia shared that she couldn't find any of the players guilty of sexual assault beyond a reasonable doubt. Former World Junior Team Canada captain Dylan Dubé and teammates Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton have each been found not guilty of sexual assault. McLeod has also been found not guilty of being party to the offense.
We heard protesters scream for justice today. Has justice been served?
Yes, I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see justice served here, and Justice Carossia has done a thorough and careful analysis and delivered a just verdict, and so that's what we've seen here today.
As part of her reasons for her decision, Justice Carossia also added that she was satisfied that EM encouraged the men inside that hotel room to take part in the sexual acts and even became upset when they declined her invitation. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
The lawyer for Ghislaine Maxwell says a meeting with his client and the U.S. Deputy Attorney General today was productive. Todd Blanche met with Maxwell and her attorneys today as his department seeks to release grand jury transcripts from Jeffrey Epstein's case. Maxwell's lawyer refused to say what was discussed during the interview, just that his client answered all questions truthfully. The U.S. House Committee on Oversight issued a subpoena Wednesday for Maxwell to testify before the committee officials in August. Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison sentence for helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. The goalposts for Canada to reach a trade deal with the United States seem to be shifting again. The U.S. ambassador to Canada making recent comments that imply the current August 1st deadline is not set in stone. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Dominic LeBlanc wrapped up Washington meetings, including with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, for now.
We're going to continue to work towards the August 1st deadline. We're going to be back here again next week. But all of these deadlines are with the understanding that we'll take the time necessary to get the best deal.
While this Republican senator is less optimistic about the timing.
I wish that I could say it feels good that this is all going to be taken care of before the 1st of August, but I'm not sensing that.
Still, Canada is stressing there's progress, the ambassador pointing to the Prime Minister's announcement targeting cheap foreign steel imports.
The measures that Canada has taken on steel, in particular, against anti-circumvention, are some of the strongest in the world, and that has been recognized and very much appreciated. So we're making some positive progress.
They say they're hurt and they were insulted, and it's kind of like, well, it's not a whole lot of people or countries that we've asked to become the 51st state that I can remember.
Meanwhile, we're hearing more from U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra. CTV News obtained the full video of his comments at a summit where he made headlines for this.
Well, there are reasons why the president and some of his team refer to Canada as being mean and nasty to deal with.
He also weighed in on that August 1st deadline.
Whether it's August 1, I don't see it extending a lot past that. I'd be surprised if we were still talking about it on September 1.
Ambassador Hoekstra also said he's optimistic about the future, but there needs to be more advocates for the Canada-U.S. relationship. From his position, 90 days into the job, he says there aren't any. As he put it, there are political parties saying elbows up and relative quiet from the business community. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A controversial Liberal bill to fast-track infrastructure development was front and center as the Prime Minister met with Indigenous leaders in the Northwest Territories today.
I want to be clear up front that the Act fully respects treaty rights, including modern treaties.
Mark Carney provided strong assurances to the Inuit Crown Partnership Committee around the One Canadian Economy Act. Carney says the government will create a major projects office and an Indigenous Advisory Council to consult on plans. Canadian Armed Forces personnel and helicopters are heading to Saskatchewan to help that province's battle against wildfires. The Federal Emergency Management Minister approved a request for assistance from Saskatchewan's Public Safety Minister.
We have the intention of splitting up these resources from the Canadian military and focusing on a couple areas within the province, so they will not all be collectively on just one fire.
Premier Scott Moe's government had previously refused to ask for help, saying Ottawa did not have what the province needed. Saskatchewan is reporting 56 active wildfires, including 15 which are not contained. And firefighters have been forced out of the northern Manitoba town of Leaf Rapids as a raging wildfire reached the town. The town says the wildfire jumped the Churchill River. All firefighters and personnel were forced to evacuate, and firefighters may not be able to return for some time. Thick smoke in the area may limit the town's ability to provide updates. People living in the town evacuated to Winnipeg earlier this month. Stay with us. Coming up, fake ads with real consequences.
It's an old scam with new tools is how I'd put it.
Tips on how to spot an AI ad before it can harm your wallet or your health. Also next.
Everybody dances and there's music and there's singing, and it is just going to be, amazing.
A festival south of our city gives Albertans the opportunity to travel back to medieval times. Looking at today's market numbers, the Canadian dollar is sitting around 73 cents U.S. Oil is up around $66 U.S. a barrel. Gold saw a $24 drop. On the stock market, the TSX lost 44 points. The Dow Jones is down 316. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business says Canada's economy will see negative growth in the second and third quarters of the year. Its quarterly report forecasts the economy dropping 0.8% in quarter two and a further 0.8% in quarter three. While inflation reportedly slowed in the second quarter, it's expected to rise slightly in the third. The report predicts a hard hit in private investment, down 13% in quarter two and almost 7% in quarter three. The Better Business Bureau is warning Albertans to be on the lookout for fake online ads. It's seen a rise in scammers using deep fakes and phony endorsements to sell products that aren't approved or don't even exist. CTV's Mark Villani reports.
I only recommend Rosabella Moringa to my patients. I've left the Amazon link in my bio.
They look real, they sound real, but these ads promising fast weight loss are anything but. Experts say artificial intelligence is making health fraud harder to spot and easier to spread.
You can make a news release about that content immediately, and you can even make fake studies that look extremely real. So real they trick experts.
It's an old scam with new tools is how I'd put it.
The Better Business Bureau says false ads are flooding social media feeds and inboxes across Alberta, some using deep fake public figures, stolen logos, or phony doctors to sell unregulated products.
You don't want to be taking some sort of supplement or using some sort of device that is not legitimate. Beyond losing money, we don't want people, harming their health.
Even trusted nonprofits are being targeted. Obesity Canada calls these unauthorized ads deeply concerning. When trust is used to sell false hope, it puts people at risk. Meanwhile, Diabetes Canada says it's received more than 300 complaints this year alone, with fraudsters misusing its logo to push dangerous products.
Some of these things are talking about being able to monitor without touching your blood. Well, that probably just doesn't make any sense. We never endorse medical products or devices.
To stay safe, the Better Business Bureau says be wary of miracle claims, fake celebrities, hidden ingredients, and so-called free trials.
Be cautious, be skeptical, check with your healthcare provider.
The warning from experts is clear. Think twice before you click. Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Nordegg is getting its first natural gas pipeline. The Alberta government says this could save customers up to 25% on their utility bills. People in Nordegg use propane for heating, which can be costly and is a safety risk when it comes to wildfires.
Of course, the safety of the community. That's the primary reason. And with the second thing, of course, is being able to spur on economic development. If you have a reliable source for, a hotel or for a small business, it's really important.
The pipeline is expected to cost $2.5 million. It will be funded by the province's rural gas program. People in the area can expect natural gas to be available by the end of this year. Medieval Times will take over Pigeon Lake this weekend. There will be jousting, sword fights, blacksmiths, and more at Medieval Madness. The event is open to all ages. Organizer Lady Amadia says it's a great chance to explore another time period.
This way, we get to see
the utensils they made, the clothes they wore, how they lived, but from a romantic point of view, because there is no violence, and that when something, wonderful happens, they all rejoice and celebrate together. Everybody dances, and there's music, and there's singing, and it is just going to be, amazing.
She says the event at the Lakedale Agricultural Building is expecting 4,000 attendees. Coming up, a hulking legacy. A look back on the life of the wrestler who took his persona far beyond the ring.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you tonight on CTV.
Hulk Hogan is being remembered as a larger-than-life pro wrestling legend who dominated the sport for decades. He took his persona beyond the ring, dabbling in film, music, TV, even politics, before he began wrestling with health issues. CTV's Ghislaine Maxwell looks back on the 71-year-old's colorful life.
Hulk Hogan's legacy is tied to wrestling, of course, but ever the performer. He also took his trademark horseshoe mustache and bandanas to the music world and to TV and movie screens.
The ultimate male versus the ultimate meatball.
Including in Rocky III, that propelled him to stardom. Hogan was born Terry Jean Bolea in Georgia, the son of a construction worker and a dance teacher. He built that massive physique and earned his stage name. As fellow wrestlers commented, he was bigger than Lou Ferrigno, who played Hulk on TV.
Look at this!
He then slammed his way to the very top of worldwide wrestling stardom, at his peak defeating Andre the Giant with a body slam. He often leaned into the ring persona of a flag-waving, heroic All-American.
Eat your vitamins. Be true to yourself, true to your country. Be a real American.
Though he also later played a villain, as both he had fans around the globe, including Montreal, where in 1997, Jacques Rougeau became the only Canadian wrestler to land a win against Hogan.
The greatest of all times, Hulk Hogan. And I love you, Hulk.
Rougeau last saw his friend 6 months ago as they signed championship belts.
He signed it in my name. He says, "You're the only one who beat me in Canada." He says, "You deserve this belt."
Hogan was admired by many, but faced several controversies. In 1994, he was forced to admit in court to years of steroid use and later to apologize for a racist rant caught on video. Through it all, though, his superstardom in and out of the ring remained embedded in pop culture. Hogan died at the age of 71 of cardiac arrest. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Hulk Hogan had fans from around the world, including here in Edmonton. Some of his more controversial moments made that fandom complicated.
For a lot of us, you realize that maybe your heroes don't hold the same values as you do, the core values, as you get older. And that's really something that's hard to square away.
Radio host Scott McCord says, regardless of his personal history, it is undeniable that Hogan was part of some of the biggest moments in professional wrestling. McCord compares Hogan's stardom to that of Wayne Gretzky or the Beatles. You know, Corey, I think that's true. You know, when we were kids, it was Hulk Hogan everywhere and Wayne Gretzky everywhere. So, yeah, hard to argue with his impact.
Yeah, for sure. The weather was impacting us this afternoon.
Yes,
we did see some good storms roll through the Edmonton area, and there's a chance that we could see a few more later tonight. Things have quietened down now, but there is the potential later tonight. And then tomorrow, a little bit cooler. Windy, 21. Slight chance of scattered showers, so back below seasonal temperature for tomorrow. That's the case for Saturday, 21 with sun and cloud. A slight chance of showers on Sunday with a high of 19. And then we start to warm up again. Close to average seasonal high on Monday, and then 27 on Tuesday. The following 3 days after that, we have highs of 30. So as we end off July and head into August, that trend has been holding. It looks like we're going to heat up for the last bit of July.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a bit of a cooler summer so far.
Yeah, it feels like it, but it's been
close to average.
Yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Corey, and thanks for sharing your time with us. For news anytime, visit our website, ctvnewsedmonton.ca. See ya.